Good morning. Welcome back. We are discussing lecture 9 now, and this is unit 3, and we have been talking about publication misconduct. And in last lecture, we discussed publication misconduct, conflict of interest. Now we're gonna discuss. Now we'll put more light on publication misconduct, and finally we will end this lecture with predatory publisher journals. So last lecture was lecture 8, unit 3. Now this is lecture 9, unit 3. So we start with conflict of interest. Conflict of interest may arise because of financial issue. Suppose you have some funding by some agency like ICSSR, UGC, DAST, or suppose you do some kind of research, then there may be a issue of financial things. Then how to take care of that financial matter, or maybe a issue of academic issue, then how to take care of that academic issue. Personal maybe some problem with the other stakeholders or with the other researchers who have collaborated with you to conduct that research. So that could be a personal problem, personal issue with the research. And there may be instances that institution may be against of you, or you're not aligning with the norms what the institution have mentioned. So that may be the various reasons of conflict of interest with your all stakeholders. So before you start conducting research or writing paper, what you need to do, you need to talk clearly about the financial issues, maybe academic issue, who gonna be a co-author, who gonna be a author, or what would be your contribution in that research paper, research work. And so there may be instances that personally you may have some issue with your co-author, with your supervisor. So that how you need to take care of that all will come under conflict of interest. So according to International Journal, Medical Journal, what is conflict of interest? Public trust is the scientific process, and credibility of published article depend in part on how transparently an author relationship and activity directly or topically related to a work are handled during the planning, implementation, writing, peer review, editing, and publication of scientific work. So here, uh, conflict of if there is any conflict of interest, that you're gonna lose the public trust, public interest, and the credibility you're gonna lose. So what we need to do, we need to be very transparent about the relationship among all the authors, activities directly or indirectly related to your research with your work. You need to take care of planning, how you implementing that planning, writing your research paper, and then peer review of your research paper. Then finally, if you receive some kind of remarks from peer review, then edit that work and finally the publication of scientific work. So the potential of for conflict of interest and bias exists when professional judgment concerning a primary interest. So there may be some personal interest such as patient welfare uh, or the validity of research. So whosoever is the respondent, whosoever is the people giving you information, giving you some response, that may be one issue. You need to take their consent, so because they are your primary interest. So validity of research is also big issue. So you need to take care of these concerns, that yes, we are taking care of our people, those who are giving us response, we are talking about their welfare, and we on the other hand we are talking about validity of our research. And all these may have some kind of issue with the financial gain or financial benefit. So there may be a conflict of interest because of this, when you think of taking consent from the respondent, or the welfare of all the concerned parties, or validity of research. So that also play a very these all play a very important role. So individual may disagree or on whether author's relationship or activities represent conflict. So there may be a different issue about author's relationship. Although the presence of relationship or activity does not always indicate a problematic influence on a paper's content. Perception of conflict may erode trust in science as much as actual conflict of interest. So here, if there is any conflict of interest in content of a paper, or in financial terms, financial gain, then it would be a issue of great concern, because ultimately it may leads towards a breach of trust among public, and that may really erode trust in science. So we need to take care of that. Whenever there is a issue, we need to understand that. And here ultimately, as we have been discussing about financial gain or financial relationships such as employment, constituencies, stock ownership, or options, patents and paid expert testimony, all are the most easily identifiable, the ones often judge or represent potential conflict of interest, and so the most likely to undermine the credibility of the journal, the author, and of science itself. So the whole science, the whole journal, or the author, they all would be will be having a big question marks in terms of their credibility, right? Their activities. So we need to take care of this all conflict of interest, whether it's related with because ultimately it's related with public trust and the science itself. So these all stakeholders, editors, authors, journal publishers, they all are related to the conflict of interest. So how to handle this authorship dispute that we have discussed in the last session also. Let me show you some more about it. So here is one article I thought I should discuss with you, I should show you. So this is a one reference. I just scroll it down and you can read it, and it will really help us to understand how to handle authorship dispute if there is any authorship dispute. So it will really help how to reduce the incidence of authorship problem, encourage a culture of ethical authorship, start discussing on authorship when you plan your research in advance, decide authorship before you start each article. So there may be a dispute, so there may be a misconduct. So how to resolve it? So here you can see you need to acknowledge, and if you are not satisfied, you need to go for appeal, and then think of contributorship, corresponding author, first and last author. These all are the important instructions and guidelines whenever you see any issue with the authorship. So that is this paper is just for reference. I thought I should put here. It will really help us to understand how to take care of, how to handle authorship dispute. So let us proceed further. And here now let's move to from conflict of interest to publication misconduct. Research misconduct we already have discussed, and it's all about action that involve mistreatment of research subjects or purposeful manipulation of scientific records such that it no longer reflect observed truth. So generally, ultimately, what is the objective of publication? What is the objective of research? And we want to try, we would like to try to come close as much as possible to the actual reality. So whatever we observe, whatever we presume, on the other hand, whatever we are observing and presuming, we have a concept called actual reality. So whatever you observe, it should be very close to the actual reality, and then it will reject or accept the presumed reality. So this is ultimately our goal of a research, to reject or accept the observed truth. So here, so that is linked with the research misconduct. So when you think of a publication misconduct, it's all about, as we have already discussed in the last session, session 8, that it's about dual publication, conflict of interest. So these are the two main pillar of publication misconduct. And here we have different types of publication misconduct according to Sage Publishing. First, plagiarism, presenting another person's idea or material as if they were his own or without proper acknowledgement of or attribution. And then copyright infringement, presenting another person's original work of authorship, their expression of idea as if it were his own without proper acknowledgement or attribution. And then duplicate or redundant publication, an author copies and republish their own work without reference to previous publication. Then data fabrication and falsification, either making up data results or altering results of experiments. Inappropriate attribution of authorship, which may lead to a dispute, including individuals who have not contributed to an article or excluding authors who have contributed, lack of acknowledgement or guest or ghost authorship. And there may be another type of publication misconduct within the publication process. For example, authors submitting manuscript under fraudulent names or with fraudulent affiliation or reviewer misconduct during the peer review process. And now we jump to the last session, that is the predatory journal. I hope you understand the fake journal. According to International Journal of Medical Journal editor, these journals, predatory or pseudo journals, accept and publish almost all submissions and charge article processing or publication fees, often informing authors about this after a paper's acceptance for publication. They often claim to perform peer review but do not and may purposefully use names similar to well-established journals. So these are fake journals, predatory journals. So let's put more light on this predatory journal. We have discussed in detail about predatory journal in next sessions. So a predatory journal is a publication that actively asks researchers for manuscript. They have no peer review system and no true editorial board and are often found to publish mediocre or even worthless papers. They also ask for huge publication charges. And here we have a Beers criteria for identification of predatory journals. And here, if you want to know about predatory journal, here we have these guidelines criteria. So if please read it carefully, listen carefully. No single individual is identified as specific journal editor. So if you don't see any specific editor, that definitely gonna be a predatory journal. The editor and or review board member do not have academic expertise, so you need to see their credential before you send your paper. Provides insufficient information, so they don't give any information about author's fee, and they don't give other information also. And suddenly you see that they send you back some information that here it's an invoice and you need to pay some money. So no indexing, and the name of a journal is unrelated with the journal submission. This happens. You might have noticed that they keep the similar name which is like a name which is existing, which is similar to the existing journal, right? So name of a journal does not adequately reflect its origin, from which country, which state it has come. So that information you need to give in contact, or you should give that this journal belongs to this particular country. The publisher has poorly maintained website, including dead links, so misspellings, grammatical errors, these are common things. And then the publisher makes unauthorized use of licensed images of their website, taken from open web without permission or licensing from the copyright owners, republish papers already published in other venues, or in other journals, use boastful language claiming to be a leader publisher. This happens most of the time. You see that this is number one, impact factor is so high. So these kind of things are there. And the provide minimal or no copy editing or proofreading or something. So you don't need to edit it or send it back for other kind of discussion. And then they publish papers that are not academically sound at all, and you need to check, is there any contact address or contact email ID, phone, other things are there. The publisher publish journal that are excessively broad, and so they publish science, humanities, social science, everything, and they charge a huge amount for that. So this is all about predatory journal. So thank you very much, and we'll continue with lecture 10 unit 4, and that would be open access publishing. So thank you very much for joining.